Social media interactions become interesting only when it is two-way. You must get a fair chance to interact with the person you follow or the person whose videos you watch. I have started this new initiative, Ask Milestones to Wealth Anything, AMA in short, through which all of you can stay in touch, ask me questions you like to ask, clear your doubts on personal finance, learn more about Milestones to Wealth and about our PMS products, and stay connected. So this brings us closer. I'm able to be closer to you, to help you in whatever way I can. You feel closer by asking whatever you wish to, and we grow together, helping each other along the way. So fill in this form and stay connected through Ask Milestones to Wealth Anything. What does the new GST tariff regime really mean? I've been in business for 3.5 decades, experiencing the old excise duty regime, where if you had to move goods out of your factory, an inspector had to visit your factory, inspect the goods, sign the invoice, and then allow you to ship to your customer. Such was the micromanagement of invoicing in our country. So you know what it would mean to get an inspector into your factory every single time you have to dispatch goods. It was pathetic. The number of heads under which items were classified was mind-blowing, perplexing. The same item could be interpreted under multiple heads, one with a very high excise duty and another with a very low excise duty. If you cleared goods under the lower excise duty with full clarity that the product should belong to that tariff, the department will still litigate with you, and you have to go all the way up to tribunals and courts to get your stance validated. The most vexatious regimes have been in force for excise duty and subsequently for SENVAT. The vexatious nature arises from multiple tariffs. It is this kind of a regime that GST replaced. When GST came in, there was one principle that was applied, that is, GST subsumed state and central taxes. So both the VAT of the states and the SENVAT of the center were subsumed into one tax. The principle was that GST should be lower for all items than what the combine of the SENVAT and VAT would mean. Suppose SENVAT plus VAT was 22%, GST should be lower than that. The number of slabs was determined by keeping the existing structure of SENVAT plus VAT, calculating what the taxes were, and then trying to fix something lower, which would be acceptable to all the states and the central government. Consensus was created in the fastest possible way to implement GST. Maybe you can even say that it was bulldozed. As a result, you had that many slabs. Subsequently, the effort has been to constantly simplify the tax regime, to clarify on which item would come under which tariff, and to ensure that litigation relating to classification of items under different tariffs would be eliminated. The only way to reduce such litigation would be to reduce the number of tariffs. It has taken us 7 years to achieve this, and in the 8th year we have it. But remember that from liberalization to GST was a 26-year journey. Ask yourself the question that in these 26 years, what kind of simplification was achieved that can be even remotely comparable to the simplification that the last 7 or 8 years has achieved. Look at the level of litigation that was there prior to GST coming in, and look at the quality of litigation that we encountered prior to that. Look at the kind of evasion that you had in the period prior to GST and compare it with where we are now headed. And then you will understand what this progression really means. Instead of understanding the progression, the direction and where we are heading towards, we see a societal obsession with procedure. We expect the most sanguine procedure to be in place when a tax regime changes and a new tax regime comes in. History has a far more brutal story to tell than what has happened with GST. Anybody who has done business for more than 3 decades would vouch for that. What this new GST regime means is that we are eliminating so much of potential litigation, potential classification issues, potential procedural lapses, inverted duty structures, so many of these which we had for as long as we can remember now go out of the window. I'm sure people will still find reasons to fault even the new system that will come in place from 22nd September. But the way I would look at it is that this progression is towards a better place, it's towards a simpler tax regime, it's towards a fairer and formalized economy, and it's towards a growth mindset amongst businesses where taxes should not deter us from scaling up significantly, building big businesses and achieving size and success. That is what this new GST regime is going to start. And there could still be things which we need to do from here, but directionally we are on to a very good journey. That's something that every one of us should remember, whether we are entrepreneurs, investors, lenders, whatever be our role as stakeholders. It's important that we understand what this means for the future, and thank you for watching this video.